Hello, this is Jerry N7LMV, and today we're going to do a presentation on how to run the program Echoproducer. Echoproducer is an add-on application for the Echolink program for amateur radio. Echoproducer is a program that allows amateur operators that have an interface connected between their computer and their radio to communicate with that program using DTMF. That's dual tone multi-frequency. That is a keypad on the microphone or on their handheld radios. So keep in mind, Echoproducer is for users in syst-op mode. This program is not functionable in single user mode, so please do not try to attempt to use this program in a single user mode, because it will not work. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the basic areas of the Echoproducer and how to set it up. Basically, you'll search on the internet for the Echolink producer program, the Echoproducer program. It is getting harder to find these days, but you can still find it. Now I'm using version 3.7.7. There are newer versions out there, but this presentation should cover the newer version as well as older versions. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to go and download the Echoproducer program, and you're going to save it to a directory of your choice. Then what you're going to do is you're going to unzip the files. There should be 4 files. And then what you'll do is you'll start the installation program. And once it's unzipped, then you can install it. You need to install Echoproducer into its default directory, C:\program files \Echoproducer. Okay. Now, you need to have Echolink up and running, first off. Okay. Second off, you must already be registered as a -L or a -R to the Echolink server in order for this to work. Okay. So once you have Echolink up and running in the background, you can then start your Echoproducer program. This is only done for the first time. Okay. After you've installed it and you have it up and running, if you want to run Echoproducer with Echolink, all you got to do is just click on the Echoproducer icon and it will start the Echolink program with it. If you are using a program called EchoTime TTS, you need to stop that program. Echoproducer is not compatible with EchoTime TTS running in the background. When you learn this program, you'll find you won't need EchoTime TTS anymore, because this program is way superior. Now keep in mind, this program is a very complex program. You'll need a piece of paper and a pen to write down commands when we go through the commands. Alright, so let's go over the general detail of the Echoproducer screen. Now, please let me explain that I have this here in the foreground because I got to make sure that everything is working for the recording. Okay, so this area will disappear and reappear throughout this demo. This demo will probably be 1 hour and 30 minutes long. So it is a long presentation because there's a lot to cover. So let's get down to it. Okay, in the Echoproducer program, you'll see the upper area, which will say Echoproducer, your call sign -L or -R. It will have the version number right here. Okay, this is your minimize, your make big, and your close. If you click this button, it will stop Echoproducer. So make sure you don't click that button. The next area is File, Setup, DTMF, History, News, Parrot, Text Box, Utilities, Weather, and Help. We will be referring to a few items in this area because they're not listed or set up in the lower area. Okay. Next area is the last DTMF heard. It heard me send C1. Okay. It might say B11, might say whatever we send. The next area is to list you as busy or not busy. So if you click on it, it will list you as not busy, and if you're not busy, it will list you as busy. Okay. If you're listed as busy, it will say it in red to get your attention. The next area is listen only on. So if you click on that little icon, it will make you listen only. Okay, this little icon right here clears the text chat text screen. So if there was any information in this area, it would clear the information. We'll go over that in just a moment. Okay, this is timeout in. You can set your parameters. You can make it 150 for a 2.5 minute talk time or whatever your preference. Right now it's set at 240. Next is Echoproducer, your call sign -L or -R, the version. Okay, next is the date. Today's date. 12/7/2013. Okay, now anytime that I transmit on my radio, this here will probably turn green. Okay, this is for RF transmission. So anytime that your station is receiving an RF, it will turn green. Let me give you an idea. So I'll talk on my radio. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it turned green. Now, if anything is coming over the internet, it will come over the internet protocol. It will be yellow. Okay. Next is the person that's connected to you. Could be a node. It could be a link, a repeater, a conference, or an individual. Usually if you're connected to a link, it will show the link call sign, and down below it will also show who's speaking on that link. Okay, if you have DTR RTS set up, a little circuit to control the fan, anytime that the fan is turned on or turned off, it will show a little light here. Anytime that your Echoproducer is transmitting, such as a beacon or your CWID, it will glow red. Anytime anyone is talking on your system, it will turn red. For example, I'll turn down this radio here and I'll talk on my iPhone or my Galaxy phone. So you'll see that it turns red. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to stop talking. And you've seen that the information first off was coming from the internet because I was coming from the internet. And you also seen the TX turn red. Okay. Next area is the text screen. So anytime that there's any information, it will be printed here. Now it says click to open text box, so we'll do that real quick. We'll tick, and you can see all the text that was being sent in the previous conversation. And we'll hide this here right now. Okay, we can show extras real quick. Now, all of these little beautiful little emoticons, a coffee cup, a skeleton, a star, will only be seen by others that are running either EchoChat or Echoproducer. If they're not running EchoChat or Echoproducers, these little smileys and sunshines and devils, or even the Echolink tower, will not be shown as a picture. So keep that in mind. Okay, we're going to get out of this. Go back to our screen. Down here, this is where you would type in your text. You can go hello, and you can either hit enter or send, and it will show it. Okay. This here area shows the stations that are connected and any information. So like if you were connected to a node, it will show the information of the node and all the stations that are connected to it. Alright, we're going to go on. We're going to have the setting icon, the news icon, the weather icon, the courtesy, the schedule, the profile, the greetings, the beacons. Next area is the chat text. The chat text. Sorry about that. Goodness. If you click on this here, it will either make this screen go away or reappear. Let's show you what it looks like. I clicked on it, and now there is no more texting. So if you're one that gets preoccupied by reading text when you're talking, you can always hide it, and then you won't be bothered by the text. I like to have it up and running. That way people can comment. Okay, the screen. This here changes the screen color. You can make it green, blue, gray, orange, yellow. I like yellow. Okay, down below is the player utility. You click on that and you'll see some interesting things. This here is where you can actually adjust the sound attributes from the text to wave. You can actually make a recording, and we'll just close this here out and continue on. Okay, on Windows 7, these two here do not have a label called volume or mic. Okay, but on Windows XP 98, 95, if you were to put your mouse on this icon here, which would be listed as volume, you can actually adjust your volume properties, and if you were to go here, you can adjust your mic properties. Since that's not available on Windows 7, what you'd have to do is you'd have to go back to the Echolink program, then you'd have to go to Tools, and then you'd have to scroll down and adjust your playback and your recording levels here. Okay, I'm going to bring back up my little recording device here so I can see it. Okay, so the next button is about. This is the author of the program, Peter Homer, EI4JR. Thank you, Peter, for your wonderful work. Okay, the next is going to be the auto connects. You can have a list of a bunch of your favorites that you want to connect up to: Ireland, Newsline, Echotest, and so on. Could be handy hams, could be whatever you want. Alright, now we're ready to get to the nitty gritty. The first area that I'm going to go to is courtesy. Okay, courtesy. The reason why I want to go to courtesy is because down here it has a check mark in use courtesy ID. I recommend that you uncheck that. Now, if you want to leave it checked, you're going to take a risk of having issues with your Echoproducer program and certain nodes. I've noticed in the past that when I've had use courtesy ID, it locks up my Echoproducer program and the Echolink program. So I uncheck that and I haven't had an issue. Okay. The next area that we're going to go to is the station talking. Well, I don't know what that's all about, because I've tried seeing stations talk and nothing was shown here. I can transmit real quick on my other phone and see if anything comes up, but I've never seen anything come up. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So nothing is showing in this area. Now, it is saying that the internet transmit is on and that the push to talk is on. So when I unkey, it will go away. Okay, so now it will go off. But it didn't display station talking or last station to transmit. So why that field is there beats me. Okay, now down here in RF timing and CWID, you don't have to basically change anything in here. I've never changed anything and the program seems to work fine. I've never had to change the RF audio ID or the internet audio ID. I haven't changed that. So the system seems to run very well with these settings as default. Okay, announce when no connects, no stations connected. Text to speech will say there are no stations currently connected. I use CW letters S. You can have it announce when no connects. Usually I leave the volume where it's at. I have CW checked, and I do not use the courtesy ID. Okay, so we're clear with the courtesy. We will not come back to this area in the future. So let's save. Anytime that you make any changes to any screen, such as we remove the check mark from use courtesy ID, it is very important that you check save. If you do not check save and you hide it, your changes did not take effect. So click save and then you can hide. Okay, the next area that we're going to go to is settings. Okay, settings is a very nice thing. What we're going to do is we're going to open up settings. We're going to go to setup, and we're going to go to the very first one, so which is announcements or announce. And the reason why is I want to do things in order. Okay, so we're now in setup and under announcements. Now you can put tick marks or checks in disable announcements and CW identification. You can put a check in allow CW identification only during disable. You can put a check mark in enable or disable the link. And you can put a check mark in warn about silence mode. Me, I basically just leave one check mark, and that is allow CW idents during disable. Okay, now you can turn this feature on and off by typing in down here letters and numbers, asterisk, and pounds. There are 16 keys on your DTMF mic, maybe a little more, and on your HT, your handy talkie, there are 16 keys, and Basically, I noticed that A, B, and C work. The numbers 1 through 0 work. The star and the asterisk, both the same, and the pound or the tic-tac-toe work. If you push D on your DTMF pad, it normally just keys up the Echoproducer program real quick. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put in a value of A1 for turning it off and A2 for turning it on. This is where you need to grab your paper and your pen, and you need to write these codes down, and you can use them as reference. Now the list can get pretty big, so you want to write down, if you want to turn the DTMF announce on and off would be A1, on would be A2. Now the other reason why you want to make sure you write these codes down is because you do not want duplicate codes. Like, let's say somewhere along in the program we want to assign another value. We don't want to assign A1 or A2 to another value in the Echoproducer program, and the reason being is because it will cause conflict with the program. So we don't want duplicates. Okay, now that we've added A1 and A2 to that perimeter, we're going to go save. Then we're going to go back to idents and settings. Okay, we're going to go down the list. Okay, next is beacons. It says beacons plus 15 seconds. If you have certain recordings that you've made and you want them to be beaconed over the air or over the internet, then you'll use these here as parameters: on the hour, quarter hour, half hour. You can put a check in all of them, but I think if you put a check in the quarter hour, it will do it for the other two. So whatever you want. Add delay before beacons transmit. You can make it plus 15 seconds. You can make it 6 seconds. You can make it whatever you want. See, when you change this value, it will change it up here. You can have 2 sets of beacons, set 1 and set 2. We'll go into beacon sets in just a moment. Down here, you're going to put in a value. Let's say A3, A3, and that will toggle between beacon sets 1 and 2. Okay, now we're going to go to beacon setup. Beacon setup is where you load your beacons that you want. Beacons can be text files, WAV files, or MP3. And basically you just go up here, and there's going to be your first beacon. You can change it by going to File. A new window will open up, and you can say, let's say you wanted it to beacon News 4. You go Open, and there it is. Okay. Now, please don't beacon music over the internet or RF. Most of this stuff will be sent strictly over RF. So please don't load up your ABBA songs or your Beatles songs or your Kenny Loggins songs or whatever and start having it playing it on the hour, half hour, quarter hour. The FCC doesn't like that. Okay. So you load your file. Okay, now we're going to go to the next area. Let's say you loaded 3 files. You can have the random beacon from number 1 to 2. You can change it 1, 2, or 3. And if you have that checked, if you have it on the hour, half hour, quarter hour, it will randomly select whatever beacons you have loaded up in this area. Okay? And of course, I like to use static beacon, meaning 1, and I'll put it in right here and make sure the 1 has a tick mark in it. Okay? So I put it on static beacon. Okay? Next is weather temperature. If you want the weather temperature sent, you can put a text in, a tick mark in there. Alright. Next area is enable beacon set 1. You can put a 4 here. That will turn it on or off. Okay. Then here you can have an extra beacon 1 plus 20 seconds. You can enter your text here, or you can load the file. You can have an MP3, a WAV file, or a text file. Okay, you can have it announce it on the hour, quarter hour, half hour. And you can tell it to transmit every 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. Since I put a tick mark in there, this number here is counting down now. So I want to make sure that's turned off. Okay, and it stops it. Okay, and you can use this with the above beacon setups. You can put a tick mark in there. And let's see. Now we're going to go to text beacons number 2. First we're going to save, and then we're going to go text beacon number 2, and of course the same basic screen comes up, and you can put a 5 here, a 5 for toggling on beacon set number 2. Okay, and you can load your files the same way as you did in the previous setup. You can do text, WAV, or MP3, and you're good to go. Anytime that you make any changes, save. Then you can hide. Okay, we've already saved this. We're going to save it one more time, and we're going to hide. Okay, now we're going to go back to Setup. We're going to go to Language Text to Speech. Okay, give it a second to load up. Okay, language text to speech. This here is a utility that allows you to change certain words to be said to something else. Like I changed the time is to the clock says it is. And you can change good morning to Guten Morgen. You can say good afternoon to, let's say, you can say Buenas tardes, and you can change good evening to whatever you want. Only you can change the items that are in yellow. There are 3 tabs. Okay, anything that you change, save the data, hide it. Okay, the next area that we're going to go to is text box beacon. Okay, text box beacon is an area that you can say there is a net tonight at 7 p.m. Now, you can have it send it every 15 minutes. You can send it immediately. So like if I was to send it immediately, you'll see it come up here. So let's send it immediately. And it says there is a net tonight at 7 p.m. Now if you wanted it to send every 15 minutes, just click this here. Of course on the first round it's going to go in 15 seconds. And once it gets down to 4, it's going to send it. And there it goes. Alright, so now it's counting down from it looks like 900 down. So when it hits 0, it will send that message again down in your text box. We're not going to use this here, so we're going to stop it. You have 3 text messages that you can send, and you can say I want this one sent every 20 minutes, this one sent every 30 minutes, and it will do that. Okay? If you have that set up, make sure that you click save or it won't work. So we're just going to make this here blank again. Okay, so that's your text box beacon. So we're going to save, hide. Okay, we're going to go back to setup, and we're going to go to volume settings. Okay, volume settings are for the text-to-speech and text-to-wave files only. This doesn't adjust your volume on your microphone or your audio. This here only changes the values for text-to-speech and text-to-wave. I like to have it set at max, and this here is for adjusting the speed of the sound of the text message being sent. Okay, so to give you an idea, we're going to bring this down to -3. It's going to test the audio settings. It will say testing the voice settings, and you'll hear what it sounds like.
Testing the voice settings.
Okay, on the next one I'll have it a little louder. Okay, so that was at -3. Let's go to +3. So this is at +3. We'll hear what it sounds like.
Testing the voice settings.
So you've seen the increase in speed. I like to have mine at -1. That sounds really good. Okay, so the text-to-wave volume level, you can't change that. It stays where it's at. Okay, down here, I like to have a check-in play bell when a station connects to your node. So I put a check mark there. Any changes that you make, you need to save it. So that's the text-to-speech. We'll save. Let's go back to setup. Let's go to voices, paths, and dates. So we'll double click on that. This here brings up the voices that are loaded on your computer. You might have one like I only have Microsoft Anna. You might have 2, 3, 4. All depends. Like Microsoft Sam is very popular. You might have Microsoft Michelle. Let's say you have 2 voices loaded up. Let's say Microsoft Anna and Microsoft Sam. If you don't want to hear the woman's voice, just switch it over to Microsoft Sam. Me, I have no choice. I have to stick with Anna. Oh, we love you, Anna. Okay, so now down here is the date format. It says day, month, and number. So if you have a tick mark in that, it will say Wednesday, May 14th. Okay, if you want to have it say Wednesday the 14th of May, just put a tick mark in that instead and it will work. I like to have Wednesday, May 14th, so I'm going to go there. Down here in the path to program directory, it should normally be normal and set up. You shouldn't have to do anything of that. So we're going to save, and now we're going to go back up to setup, and we're going to go to idents and settings once again. Okay, so that covered the beacon area, and that covered the areas that were listed in the setup. Now we're going to come here to say the time. You can have it say the time on the hour, the quarter hour, the half hour. You can have it say it in 12-hour format or 24-hour format. So if you were in 24-hour format and it was 1 o'clock, it would say the time is 1300 hours. If you have it in 12-hour format, it will say the time is 1 p.m. Okay? You can add the date to the time. You can add the temperature to the time. You can add minutes and time when it's in the 24-hour setting. Okay? Next area that we're going to go to is announce. Use preamble. What is use preamble? That could be good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Okay, if you don't want to hear good morning, good afternoon, good evening, uncheck it. Put a check mark in stations connect and disconnect. Okay, so if K6FM was to connect up to me, then we would hear K6FN connected or K6FN disconnected. You can add the time to it. I normally don't. Okay, text messages. That is a nice feature. Text message, when checked, allows you to be away from your computer with your mobile rig or your HT, your handheld. And if no one is talking and you're not talking, anytime that a message is received in the lower area, you will hear the message being sent. So let me do a real quick showing of what that is. I'm typing it in. So here comes the message. I'm going to bring the radio up so you can hear it. Hold on a second. Let me try it again. My phone decided to do something stupid.
Message from M7LMV.
Okay, let's try it again. I turned my phone to lay it down and it went away, the text. So let's try it again. I'm sorry I'm taking up so much time. Okay, here comes the message.
Message from M7LMV. Hello, everyone.
Okay, so as long as you're not talking and another station's not talking, it will transmit the text. So that's how that works. Alright, so let's go back there. Now you can turn on and off the text by adding a value. I forgot to say over here, if you wanted to hear the time and you didn't have on the hour, quarter hour, or half hour, you can put in a value. It could be B1, A1, C1, star 11, could be whatever you want. It could be star 0, could be star A, could be whatever you want. Okay, so now we're going to go back over here, say the text on and off. I'm assigning a value as B2, so I can stop the text messaging from being played over my RF if it gets really, really busy. Okay, now we're going to go down here, DTMF, who is connected. So by default they have *08. So if you type in *08, let's see if I can get this phone down here so it doesn't feed back too much. I can go *08 and it will play the message of who is connected. Here we go. Now, down here you see the 08.
One station connected M7LMV.
And up here you can see the star 08. And it said one station connected N7LMV. Okay, so that is your option of what you want to put in for your DTMF values. It could be star 11, it could be pound B1, could be whatever you want. Okay, down here is last connected. They have *09. And what does that mean? Well, let's say you were talking to somebody and you got disconnected. Then what would you need to do is type in *09 and it will connect you to the last station that you were connected to. Okay? So, it will reconnect you. Alright, so we're all set to go. Okay, let's give an idea of, say, the time. We'll type in B1. Let me put this phone down here so it doesn't make a lot of noise. And we'll go B1 and it will play the time.
Good afternoon. The clock says it is 1:04 p.m.
Okay, so it says the clock says it is 1:04 p.m. So that's how you do those. Okay, we're now done with this screen. Now we're going to go to DTR RTS. I'm going to click on the window so you can see what it looks like. Let the identification go. Alright. If you have a circuit connected up to your system that turns on and off a fan relay to cool your system, this is where you can have Echoproducer apply the switching to turn on and off the fan. I've never used it. I don't know how to use it. I never made a circuit to turn on and off my fan. I just basically keep a muffin fan next to my radio. So we're going to skip that. Okay, the next area is idents. Okay, idents, we're going to go to station identification. Couple of sections in station identification where it says voice ident call sign. Do not type in your call sign like this. If you do, it will not sound correct. You have to basically put it in phonetically or phonically. K, B, 6, D, O, W, I don't know. You'd spend probably 5 or 10 minutes trying to get it to come out correct. So I don't even use that. I just eliminate it. But I do use the CWID call sign. Down here I put in KB6DOW/L, and then if you want you can go KB6DOW Orange County, whatever, right here in the long. And then I use CWIdent, and I put a tick mark there. I make my Echoproducer send the CW call sign every 10 minutes. Okay, I put a tick mark in ID during breaks in transmission. I do not put an ID during transmission because if I'm talking to my friend Joe, KB6YYT, and he's talking to me, I don't want it to transmit over him. So basically ID during breaks in transmission. Okay, next, idents beacons. We don't have to go over that. We already were there. That's this area. Next area, silence. Okay, silence is a nice feature. Let's say you have announcements or beacons already scheduled. But let's say you know you have a net on Sunday, and let's say you have it at 5 p.m. so that would be 17. You got to put it in military time from 5 until 6, which would be 18. Then you would set this up Sunday from 5 to 6. Do not transmit any beacons. Okay. Now you don't want your beacon or your announcements to be playing while you're in the middle of a net. Now, of course, the net probably won't hear it. It depends on how you set up your stuff to be sent out. We'll get to that in a while. But you definitely don't want to hear it while you're in a net on your end. So just set up. And you can do that with, let's say you have a group on Wednesday at 7 o'clock in the morning, 07, until 8 o'clock. And then you would say, don't beacon or announce anything during those times. Once you have all that set up, click Save. Okay, I'm going to clear all these fields. Just go 24, 24. Clear this field. Put this back to 24 and 24. Like I say, any changes, always save. Okay, so that's now covers the main area of the settings. Okay, we're going to hide. Next is news. Moving on. Okay, news. News is really nice. You can play weather conditions, weather forecasts, news line, whatever. Now, news 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, and I'm going to go back here to the main area. Okay, let's say you wanted to play Newsline on Sunday from midnight until 1 o'clock, then you'd make this here 01, and it will play it. You can set it to whatever hours, whatever day. Okay, you're going, well, how do I get Newsline? Well, I'm going to show you how you get Newsline. You're going to come down here to News Download. I'm going to be honest with you. I noticed that under Downloads 1 and 2, they don't seem to be functional. So you're going to go up to Downloads, click on it, and go down to Downloads 3 and 4, and you will have 3 and 4. Okay? Now, if you wanted to download Newsline every Tuesday, you can say every Tuesday go to this file every Tuesday at midnight, and it will download it. Or you can download it right now. So what I do is I uncheck Tuesday and I uncheck download this file, and I just go straight to the URL. Now this is going to take about a minute to download, so please bear with me. It says downloading. It's a pretty good size file. Once it's done downloading, a new box will open, and I'll explain what you need to do when the new box opens. Because if you make an error, then you just wasted time. Okay, it says that the audio file 3 download is completed. You're going to only click hide. Okay, now we're done with this here. We can hide this because we didn't change anything. We didn't change the download and the day and the time, so we can just hide that. Okay, now we're going to go back to the news player. So now let's say you wanted it to play Sunday from midnight until 1 o'clock in the morning. You can do that. Let's say you want to play it right now. You can just type in BB, or you can type in star 66, whatever you want for the value. But let's say you want to hear it right now just to see what it sounds like. Let me get my radio here real quick. Turn it back on because I didn't want to be distracted. And we'll play the Newsline that we just downloaded. We'll go to play. I'm not going to play it all. I'm just going to play about 5 seconds of it and then stop it.
7L, disconnected.
Disconnected. CQ, calling all radio amateurs and shortwave listeners. This is GB2RS, News Broadcasting Service of the Radio Society of Great Britain. It comes to you from G4NJH at Nottingham. This is the MP3 version.
Okay.
And the local news. Link on.
Okay, that's what it sounded like when it played the file. Now, a couple of things took place when the file started playing. First off, it disconnected me, N7LMV, from my KB6DOW link. Now, the reason why it did that is because I told it to disconnect all before playing file. So anyone that was connected to you will be disconnected. Okay, let's say you were on your scheduler from Sunday 12 until 1. 1 minute before it disconnects everybody, it will say disconnecting these stations in 1 minute. It will set the node to busy during the file transmit because you do not want people connecting up to you trying to say, hey Jerry, let's gossip, while you're playing your Newsline. So it will put you as busy. So right now I'm not busy. Okay, so since I'm not busy, I'm going to reconnect up and have my station set up here real quick. Please stand by. Okay, so continuing on, down here it will say that the news has ended, and it did. And so now I'm getting ready to connect up here real quick, and I'm going to connect up once again. Alright, so now I'm connected, and it says I'm connected. I'm going to list myself as busy. Okay, now I'm listed as busy. Should change to busy. Try it again. Okay, now I'm listed as busy. Alright, so anyways, going back to this here. So disconnect everybody before playing the file. That's your option, yes or no. It's best that you do 1 minute before disconnecting. Let it warn you. That's a great thing. So you can say, hey guys, I'm going to be starting my news line by. Set the node to busy during file transmission, because you don't want people to connect up to you while you're listening to your files. And announce the news has ended, and then you can set your node back to normal use. Okay, so that's the wonderful area of the news line. Save any changes, and then we can hide. Okay, next is weather. Okay, in order to make weather work with Echoproducer, you need a weather program that is compatible with Echoproducer. Go to Echoproducer manual and look and see which weather programs are compatible with Echoproducer. I know that ambient weather is compatible, so you can go to ambient weather and download their program, and then you can start ambient weather. You must have it running in the background for it to work. Once you do that, then you can have the program set up. Okay, first off, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Setup. We're going to go to Setup. This is where you set, do you want it to be set in Fahrenheit, centigrade, Celsius? Do you want the wind to be set in miles per hour or in kilometers? Do you want the barometer be listed as INHG or millibars or HPA? Your choice. By default, pretty much this here should be working for the file locations for the CSV file. Okay, if it's not, you can always go and find it. Mine loaded up perfectly for ambient weather to work with this configuration. I am going to be using a weather exchange software, ambient weather, and I am going to use the default software data paths. Normally it will set itself normally. Okay, the next thing that I like to do is have a check mark in node transmit if a station is connected to your node. If someone's talking to you, you probably don't want to hear the weather. Once you make those changes, save it. Go back up to Setup, go to DTMF. This is where you can type in the DTMF tones that you want to say the condition. I have B3 for the condition. I'm going to change this to B4. B4 for the temperature. B5 for the forecast, which is long. And then B6 to turn on and off the low temp warning. Okay, down here you can have long warnings. They got asterisk asterisk 5 or star star 5. Short weather warnings, star star 3. DTMF warning summary, TX warning summary. They got star star 4. And then down here for the Europe, it has star star 6. Since I made the change up here to B4, I want to make sure I press save. But you can add weather to the date and time. You can add local time at transmission or no time added. I normally have no time added, so save that. Go up to Setup again. Go to Text Changer. Okay, in the file that ambient weather or whatever program that you're using that's compatible with Echoproducer, sometimes in the script it will say T-storms instead of thunderstorm. They try to keep the script very, very short. You do not go into the script that was saved and change it from T-storms to thunderstorm. You can just do that right here. So anytime that Echoproducer sees in the weather script T-storm, it will say thunderstorms. You can change whatever things that are necessary here. So if you hear something out of the unordinary, you can always change it to the ordinary. Okay, make sure you save. Okay, we go back to setup, and basically text changer 2, this here is, you can say the word that you hear and you can change to whatever. Like I know wind, W-I-N-D, sounds like wind. So I'm going to go W-I-N-D, and I'm going to see if I can say wind. Wind. So you got to do it phonetically. Let's see if I can make it W-I-N-N-D. Okay, I'm going to save, and we'll hide it. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it works. Okay, so now that we're done with that, we're going to go to setup, and we're going to go to language TTS setup. And this is once again, anything that is in yellow you can change. Okay, we're going to save data, hide. Next area is conditions. You can add the time to the conditions. You can use preamble, good morning, good afternoon. You can add the conditions. You can use the computer time. You can add hours and minutes when in 24-hour mode, and you can add the windshield. Okay, basically it starts out good morning, the local weather conditions in Creole, and the reason why it says that is because I changed it right here. So you can change only the preamble, and the rest is done by the ambient weather program to put the rest of the information in here. Okay, you can make it beacon every 15 minutes, the conditions. So like if I click on conditions, this here is going to start counting down. I don't want it to say the conditions. You can say the temp on the conditions, or I'm sorry, the temp, and then it will say the temp. I don't want it to. You can make it transmit on the hour, quarter hour, half hour. Okay, so now we're going to go to forecast. Again, here, start the weather forecast with whatever information you want. Could be Anaheim, California, could be Atlanta, Georgia, could be wherever you want. And you can use the beacon and it will start counting down. Next is the warnings, the high-low. Okay, I can set the high-low warning. If the temperature exceeds 100 degrees, it's going to send a message saying the temperature has exceeded 100. If you want to set it to 10, it says the temperature has fallen below 10 degrees or at 10 degrees. Basically, you can test this here. Let's see what it sounds like. Let's go test.
High temperature warning. The temperature is 48 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. And then down here you can set the miles per hour. So if you are afraid of things getting destroyed when the winds get above 40 miles per hour, it will say, hey, your high speed is above 40 miles per hour. Okay. Now you can change, you can save that. Okay, go back to warnings, weather warnings. You can say a full summary, just a summary, text info. You can repeat the warning 2 times, and pretty much that. Save it. Go to warnings. Go to weather warnings in Europe. I don't know what this is all about. I've never seen it. I guess you can enter in say Germany's information, and then you can make it beacon every 10 or 15 minutes. And you can say, hey, I want to list only if the weather is potentially dangerous, or the weather is dangerous, or the weather is very dangerous. Okay, so that covers the weather. Okay, we already went over courtesy. Now we'll go to scheduler. Let's say you have a schedule. I have one at Wednesday. I have the opportunity of disconnecting everybody before I go into it. It will list me as busy when I go into it. I know it's at 7 o'clock in the morning, 07. I know that the node that I want to connect up to is KB4SVP-L. You have to make sure you put in the -L or the -R, or just KB4SVP. You have to put everything in perfectly. If you just put in KB4SVP and he's the only one and he doesn't exist, guess what? You're not going to connect. So then I'm going to type save, and it will be saved. Okay? Right now I'm just going to disable that, disable this, clear this, and make this back to 24. I want to make sure everything's set back, and I'll save. Okay. Daily scheduled connect and disconnect. You'll have to read up on this. I've never used it. Okay. Net scheduler. There's 8 sets. You got 4 in set 1, and then I guess you got number 2. So I guess there's 5 sets. Okay. Basically the same thing that I had before. I want to do number 2. Let's say Wednesday at KB4SVP at 5 o'clock. So anyways, you do the same thing. Save it, hide it. Okay? Profiles. I always leave mine at main. Just leave that alone. Okay? I don't even know what this here is. Profiles and beacons. I've never used it, so I'm sorry to say I can't help you. So save, hide. Okay, RF busy. I've never used this here. Disconnect all from the link. If RF busy, don't disconnect. I've never used it. You'll have to pretty much read up on that. Okay. We're going to save and hide. Okay, profiles, we already went over that. Greetings, this is really, really nice. Okay, greetings is the text box greeting message. I like to use a greeting. I do not use timestamp greetings. And I basically pick number 6. Number 6 is really, really nice. It will say in the text box, welcome, the system is active. Please leave good gaps between overs. It's a kind way of letting people know, hey, leave some space between the transmissions for other people. Okay? You can have it do randomized greetings. So every time you connect up, if this is checked, it will pick one of these here and send it out each time you connect up. Okay? So basically, I like using number 6. Now you can change all of these here. You can change this here, number 3, to hello, I am ready to talk. And if you do, save it, and it will be there. And then you can pick number 3. But I like number 6. Okay, so we're going to save, and we're going to hide. Okay, beacons. We've already kind of went over this here earlier. You can just load your beacons, and we've already gone over that. So we're now ready to go up to the upper area. Okay, upper areas, there's only one thing up here that you really need to change, that you can change, and that's the screen. You can have it large size like it is now, or small size. Pretty neat, huh? You can make it small or big. Okay, So we're going to go back to setup and we're going to make screen size large. Okay, DTMF, next on the list. DTMF control, really nice. Okay, let's say that you wanted to connect up to 3 stations at once. So let's say we wanted to go K6FN, let's say KB6YYT, let's say N9RFO. Okay, you can assign a DTMF tone here. Let's say you wanted to go star 1, 2, 3, and let's say, well, we need to put the star in there. Didn't see the star. Let's go to star. Star 1, 2, 3. Let's say disconnect. Okay, let's go pound. Okay, down here, let's say you had a second group that you wanted to connect up to. Let's say K6FN. Let's say N7LMV. N7LMV. And let's say just those 2. Okay, and let's say you wanted to go star 1, 2, 2. And of course, disconnect all. You can go pound. Okay, so if I was to type in star 1, 2, 3 and these 3 stations were on, it would connect you to all 3 stations. If I wanted to disconnect everybody, I just go pound. Okay, let's say I just wanted to connect up to these 2 stations. All I got to do is type in star 1, 2, 2. If I wanted to disconnect, I would just go pound. Okay, so now up here, now the reason why I have KB4SVP-L and N9RFO-L over in this area for the single call signs is because I know that if I were to put KB4SVP-L here and these other 2 stations, KB4SVP-L will not allow these other stations to connect. So nodes and repeaters may not allow you to have multiple connects. So please be aware of that. Okay, so over here I put KB4SVP-L. He's my connect and disconnect would be C1. Okay, and I can also use pound or pound. You're probably going, what are these little tiny radio ID things here? Well, you can actually press on that little radio button, that icon, and it will connect you to these stations. Alright, so we're going to get rid of all of these here because I don't want anything in them right now. So I'm going to clear everything. Now I do want these here to stay. I do want C1 to connect me to KB4SVP-L, and I do want C2 to connect to N9RFO. So we're going to save. Okay. Now there's admin 1, and you can add in certain DTMF tones to disconnect everybody. Usually I just go pound here. I don't go 73. I just go pound. Try to keep it simple. This is the only thing that I use consistently throughout the DTMF for disconnect is pound because it does the same thing. Enable all DTMF. You can put in, okay, I want to make it 07. Disable, you can go 08. Now, I didn't say star 08. I said 08 because we know 08 will tell me who's connected. Star 08 will tell me who's connected. So I just said 08. Any changes that you make, save it. Okay, connect and disconnect calls. Okay, list is busy. Now, this is really nice. Busy listen. If I want to list myself as busy using my mobile rig or my handheld, all I got to do is just type in 11 and it will list me as busy. If I want to unbusy myself, I can type in 12. Okay, if I want to put myself in listen only off, I'll type in 13. If I want to put myself listen only on, I'll type in 14. You can make it whatever you want. You can make it #23 asterisk 1A, whatever you want for the values. Save it. Okay, now we're done with that, and we're going to hide. We went over all of these here items. Hide. Let's go back to DTMF file text player. Okay. Now keep in mind that this is only going to be played over the RF. Let's say you wanted to play, let's say you had information on how to get to some place. You can type in, let's say 44, and then you can load a file, and then you can say you made a text to wave file on how to get to Bob's house. Then you can load it, and then if you push 44, it will play that file. Okay, we're not going to do anything. We're going to go, once you do, save it. So we're going to just delete that. Okay, so we're going to save, and we're going to go hide. Okay, now we're going to go into history. History is really, really nice. It will record all connections, disconnections, and DTMF used. If you want, it will say when someone started transmitting and when someone ended transmitting. I think that's not necessary, but I do like to keep a log of stations that were connected and any DTMF tones that were used. Could be good for you to use as a reference if someone's using DTMF tones and you're going, hey, why is my system behaving the way it is? Okay, save changes and hide. Okay, news, we've already went over that. We've already went over the news downloader. Parrot, I've never really used Parrot. Basically what Parrot is like echo test, and you can allow people to make recordings and they can see how it sounds. I would just let them go to echo test and do all the testing there. So I don't enable it. I just let it stay off to the side. Save, hide. Okay, text box. Text box chat. Now this is only when you're at the computer. You're not going to be able to see all of this here. You might hear it, but you won't be able to see it. Then you can show the extras, and like I say, you got little tiny boxes and that have the icons of emoticons, suns, whatever. Keep in mind, any of the text chat icons that are sent will only be visible by those that are using EchoChat or Echoproducer. So I would just keep it hide. Okay, we're all done. You can sit here and say send text with timestamp. Let's go no. Timestamp incoming, not necessary. So since we did it, we're going to now here's another thing. Let's go here. Let's say someone sends you a big text or a little text. Let's say you want this window to open up so you can read it big instead of on the little tiny screen that was here. Just say, yeah, I want it to open up the text chat box when a message is received. Sure, why not? Okay, you don't have to save anything here, so hide it. Okay, text box again. Text box greeting, we already did. I want number 6. Okay, hide. Text box DTMF and text command. Oh, this is a beauty. Okay, if you're on a server that has the bridge accepts certain commands as systop commands, lurk commands, delurk, mute, whatever. Well, basically, you can say, alright, I want to lurk myself when I'm on a conference server or a node that supports the bridge or that accepts the lurk command, the delurk command, the systop command, or whatever. So I know that if I wanted to lurk myself when I was on a system of that sort, and I'm not at the computer and I don't have a keyboard, I can type in here .lurk. I can initiate a DTMF command, and I can say I want to make it B06. Okay, so if I type in B06, it will send to the text .lurk, and it will be sent and it will lurk me. But you have to put here text box reply, the same thing, .lurk. Okay, now this is also where you can choose whether you want your file to be sent strictly by radio or over the internet. So you're going, what? Okay, so let's say down here in this area, I can say that this here is going to send a file over the RF and the IP. I'm going to put a check mark there. It says radio and IP. Now you're going to load the file that you want to send. Let's say I want to send Newsline over that RF and the internet. Okay, so I'm going to open. So here it is. Now, only if this is checked will it be sent over the radio and the internet. If you have it unchecked, it's only going to be sent over the radio. So make sure you pay attention. Okay, now you want to send that. Let's say we want to make that B07. So if I type in B07, it's going to play this file. Okay, now you want to make sure you save. Now when the text box commands are received via the text box or the DTMF to your node, the audio file will be played over RF and IP if selected. That's right here. Okay, a confirmation text will be sent if entered 8K 8-bit wave file at 22050 Hz at 128 kilobytes a second mono. MP3 format will only work with this selection. So we'll say everything is fine. Okay, DTMF delayed if required. 1 second, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mine is no. So that's how you do sending messages over the IP. This is very important that you remember this. If you want it sent over the IP, you need to make sure that you come to text box DTMF command. Okay, and that's the only area that's going to allow you to select yes, I want it over the IP, or I only want it over the radio. So we're all done. Alright, we're going to save. Okay, we're going to hide. Okay, go back to text box messages. Okay, you can have it set up to send immediately. Hey, I'm using Echoproducer, or check out the Echo add-ons, or whatever. I normally don't use this. This here is when you're at the computer. This is not when you're away from your computer. Okay, let's go text box once again. Text box messages for systop. Now, keep in mind, don't think that only a systop or an admin's going to see this message. You type anything in here, it's going to send it over the air. Well, what I mean over the internet. So don't let this think, oh, I'm only talking to the systop or the admin. It ain't worth it. Okay, let's go text box. Node controller. Okay, this is a little lengthy, but what it does, it gives 6 operators the ability to use the functions of auto connect on, off, list is busy, listen only, mute last talking station, unmute all, who is transmitting, etc. I've never used this, so I'm going to just change and not change anything and hide it. Okay, utilities, conference controller. This is beautiful. This is really, really beautiful. Let's go to let's go here, and I'm going to show you what this does. I'm going to disconnect from my N7LMV station, and it looks like everything is working just fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down here. I'm going to disconnect from N7LMV. I'm going to go here. I'm going to exit out. Okay, I'm going to find KB4SVP-L, KB4SVP-L. I'm going to find them. As you can see, it's looking. I say KB4SVP. I don't want to connect up to Russell, and he's not listed as busy, so I'm going to just go KB4SVP. Let me go up here. I got to go to links. Go to links. I'm in people. Go to links. A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K. I know I'm taking a lot of time here. I said fine. There he is. Okay, so I'm going to click on KB4SVP. Okay, I'm going to lurk myself. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what this is all about. Okay, we're going to come back here. We're going to go to this window right here. Okay, now I am connected to the KB4SVP conference. There's 3 of 25 in there. There's Russell. There's all the information. Okay, now I'm going to go to connect node. I'm already connected. I want to, I guess I gotta set up, conference setup, and I'm gonna go KB4SVP-L. He is an Echolink, not an IRLP. Okay. Now I'm going to put in the sysstop because I'm not an admin, I'm a sysstop, so I'm going to go and enter in. I'm going to save the data. Okay, so now it's saved. I'm going to hide. Now I can go to conferences and I can see that he's there. Okay, it says KB4SVP, and let's see. Let's go and type in some information down here. Okay. I wish this here would have worked. Let me do something else here. Let me disconnect and reconnect up. Let me go back. Go back here. Let me go here. Save. Okay. Okay. Okay, now it says that admin is enabled. Now that means I'm able to connect to a node, disconnect the last talking station, disconnect station. Now I can't ban, but I can mute. I can unmute people. I can go conference setup, and I can go utilities. Now I'm going to lurk myself, so I'm going to go lurk. Down here it sends the command lurk, and it put me in lurk. Here it's showing that KB9NSK is talking. And I can mute him, I can disconnect him, I can do whatever I want in this area. Okay, so now we're done here. I'm going to save, I'm going to hide, I'm going to go back here. It says KB4SVP-L. It says the last person that was talking was KB9NSK. It tells me the admin is enabled. And now we're going to go to utilities. We're going to skip the player utilities. We're going to go to restart and close down. If you put in a value in this DTMF field, such as, let's say, Bravo 99, don't know why it didn't do it. Let's go Bravo 99, and I send B99 with my DTMF, it's going to restart the computer. Okay. Let's say I wanted to close down both Echolink and Echoproducer, but I'm not shutting down my computer. Then I can type in, let's say, 89 ***. So we can go 89 ***. And if I type in 89 ***, it will shut down both Echolink and Echoproducer program. Okay? I don't want no fields there, so let's empty that out. Okay, let's say I want to close down just only Echoproducer. I can enter in a value, let's say Bravo 76. And then it will close down only Echoproducer, but leave Echolink up. Okay? I don't want no values there, so I'm going to erase that. Let's go and we'll save. That concludes our tutorial on the Echoproducer program. Thank you for watching and have a good time with this program.